Plan on flying? It's time to upgrade to a real ID. Because in order to board domestic flights, your driver's license or state-issued ID must be a real ID, or you'll need another acceptable form of identification. So don't wait. Find out how to get your real ID at tsa.gov/real ID. That's tsa.gov/real ID, or visit your local DMV. And then you'll be cleared for takeoff.
Shout out to Mary, and shout out to the sanctuary where good pods happen.
Phenomenal singer.
Mary's incredible, and that's my favorite Mary song, so that's why I went rogue and played it last week. It was kind of risky to just play her song without asking, because I could see a scenario in which she does not appreciate that very much, but she gave us the blessing. And now that's the official theme song of the sanctuary.
Oh, man. You know, most seasons we get at least one survivor castaway who makes music. Should we try to, every season, make it the theme song of the sanctuary one of the current contestants' music?
Well, I mean, let's see if someone can top this Mary song first, because, I mean, let's be real. I'd say maybe we just stick with Mary, because I think we peaked.
Man, this is the sanctuary where good pods happen.
Yeah.
A big week for online discourse when it comes to Survivor. Maybe it has something to do with the crazy backlash to the episode.
See, that's why I'm doing something on this show where I think it's important. We're going to give Mitch a little break this week, and if either you or I makes a mean comment about Mitch, I will hit you with a laser beam.
Can I hear the laser beam?
Yeah, sure. Well, say something mean about Mitch, and then I'll hit you with it.
Yeah, man. Mitch was super dumb this week. That was so loud.
That was ridiculous. I'm gonna have to turn that down in post. Hey, but that's gonna make you not want to do it.
Yeah.
Getting zapped with the laser.
And let's start with this because hot off the presses, everyone's mad at Mitch.
So I do feel for Mitch, and because we get really intense because this is the problem with our draft, is that we get so invested in these players and our pursuit of winning this stupid Jody Newell trophy that means the world to us that we will do things like rant for 3 minutes uninterrupted, screaming like you did towards Mitch, or like Jonathan. He realized that these songs curse people, so he was like, I'm going to do an intentional curse instead of an accidental curse. And I feel like the draft, it kind of drives us insane a little bit towards the end of the show, from like final 6 to the end.
Oh, I agree, dude. Yeah, and I like on the sanctuary, I like to peel back because, PD and I, we're heavily influenced by the pro wrestling world.
Mm-hmm.
So, oftentimes for the main show, we have a bit of a persona that we play for entertainment value. I was not actually that upset at Mitch to scream at him like that for 3 minutes. But we knew that it would be funny.
But also, I mean, when you're watching the episode, deep down, I think you do kind of feel those things.
Yeah, all of those emotions were very real. Like, they were there. But I would never in a million years actually scream at someone like that.
It is just funny to be like, man, Chase really went off the rails and just lost his mind for 3 uninterrupted minutes.
So, yeah, how do you think Mitch is feeling after all this backlash this week?
I think he's like already overcome so much in his life that he probably has the right mindset to deal with it, although he's probably never gotten death threats from TikTok before.
Yeah, dude.
So that part of it really does suck. But when I think about it now, it's like, I think that the Underdog Alliance should have done a better job in approaching Mitch, and they should have had Camilla or Kyle do it.
Yeah, and we'll get into a little bit more about that whole situation when we talk about Star's exit interview she did with Entertainment Weekly. Dalton Ross, shout out. But yeah, maybe Star shouldn't have been the leader of that.
Star's like the whole season been seen as the wild card, And then,
which is weird.
Yeah, I don't think she really deserved much of the hate, and she talked about that in her exit press too. That she appreciated people supporting her through all that.
Yeah, I mean, since we've brought it up twice, I mean, should we just jump right into that?
It's our final Star update, if you think about it.
Yeah, unless she shows up for 50.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
You never know. Yeah, I'll just jump right in with the question that they asked her that directly relates to what you just said. The question was, here's something I do not understand at all. Everyone kept saying how untrustworthy you were. What was that based on? Because we didn't see you do lots of lying and deceiving and backstabbing, so I'm a bit perplexed. And, you know, he doesn't bring up this, but it's something that a lot of the online discourse has been about, is like how Joe called Star his kryptonite.
Yeah, I forgot to bring that up in the episode. Our main pod.
Yeah,
but I did think that was really weird.
Very interesting. Well, so what she says is, I think they were projecting. Everyone that was saying honest and loyal was lying. You were watching it happen in real time. The only person that anyone was ever honest and loyal to was their number one. And even then, we know in a game of Survivor, you're either going to flip on that number one, we saw it before in the past, or you're going to make it all the way and you're going to stay locked in. And everyone that's in your way, you don't care. So I felt like when they're calling me chaotic, I'm like, literally, you're watching me. I'm sitting. I'm watching everyone scramble and wrestle and try to figure out what's happening. And I'm like, bro, why are y'all being so paranoid? You either got it or you don't. I always have it. Some people don't. Pretty baller.
Yeah, that's an awesome quote. I think that she's right. But like the only person that has played that kind of a game is Eva.
Yeah.
Where I feel like Eva has meant everything she said and been straightforward with pretty much everybody.
Even when she probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah, like when she's like, hey, Mary, this isn't going to work out. Like, at least, I mean, I'll try to make it work for a little bit longer, but when it's your time, and I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's weird how the kind of strong alliance, which there's not a good name for that alliance. Everybody just
It's just the strong people. Big Bro Club. I think Jonathan came up with the good name for it.
Big Bro Club, yeah. So the thing about the Big Bro Club is they've run away with the game to a certain level where they're not playing with the other players, they're playing with themselves. To the point where it's like they made up that Star is this crazy, chaotic kryptonite, quote unquote. Star wasn't doing anything.
Kryptonite is just the weirdest way to describe it. It's like, why? Explain that.
It wasn't like whenever Star plays an immunity challenge, she wins. She's my kryptonite. No, dude, you've won everything.
Star's been on the bottom. Gave over her idol to Eva. It's like, how has Star been in a position to be your kryptonite? Or does he mean he's just like, I'm annoyed by you. I would like for you to go home.
Yeah, I mean, and you even bring up the thing that she gave Eva the immunity idol. That gets asked in the exit interview. He says, anyone that doesn't win, you're going to look back at certain points in the game and be like, maybe I should have zigged when I zagged here. Do you regret letting Eva keep the immunity idol and the beware advantage you found? And Star says no, which I think is the correct answer. But she goes, my only regret is not voting the way we should have voted at the split tribal. So basically, she says a bunch of stuff, but it really boils down to she regrets that she did not save Say. That was what she felt was the biggest thing. She was like, after watching, I'm like, maybe the game would have changed for Chrissy, the game would have changed for Say, and maybe in that moment we could have all worked together to take care of the bigger fish. So that's my only regret, not saving Say. And I think that's true. I mean, giving Eva the immunity idol, baller move. It kept her safe because Star was like the number one threat for some reason. The second she gives Eva that, they just leave her alone for weeks on end.
Well, I think it should have been a great move because the purpose of it was to develop a relationship with Eva. Yeah. Under any other circumstances, I feel like giving over an idol to somebody, that it would do that. They would be like, oh, yeah, we're locked in together. No, she didn't care at all.
She was like, thanks for this idol.
Yeah. There was never any confessional of her being like, it's hard for me to vote Star when Star did this for me and like gave me power in the game and is loyal to me. So I don't know. I guess Eva just really likes the guys so much.
It's difficult to like Eva sometimes because of that. Like, loyalty, I think, is normally seen as a very good attribute, but it kind of comes across negatively in this season. The fact that they're so loyal. The cool thing about Star, and I think they purposely left it out of the edit, but from reading her exit interview and from seeing everything that's been kind of going on this week after she's been eliminated, is it seems like she was actually really trying to play the game. She was trying to talk to people. She was trying to get things going. She says in her exit press that they didn't show it in the episode, but even after Joe won immunity, she was still going to everyone and being like, hey, maybe we can get Eva. Maybe we can get Shaheen. Like, let's not let this fall apart just because Joe got thing. She was actually playing really hard. And Joe and Eva, like, they're just stonewalling everyone.
Well, it was Mitch, really. I mean, it all comes back to Mitch in that moment.
Yeah.
Because
Mitch
flipped everything. That was Star's one Hail Mary. After the immunity challenge, she goes to Mitch. And that's when we get the Mitch in the hammock, you should play your shot in the dark moment. And that's where it completely changed. And from then on, it's Mary versus Star.
Yeah, it's so weird, man. And she says in her exit press, after he asks about, like, you know, they called you this untrustworthy person, Mitch was kind of the main one that was like, I don't trust Star. Mm-hmm. And Dalton asks her, he's like, but you're not hearing them say that stuff when you're out there. And she's like, no. They were saying this to my face.
Oh.
She goes, Eva basically called me chaotic pretty much throughout the whole game. And I'm like, girl, I'm not even talking to you or checking for you. I'm so confused. A lot of times I was told they just don't know if they can trust you. And I'm like, I'm literally with y'all the whole time. I'm not even doing anything crazy. Even then, too, sometimes you would see me walk and try to get some information and talk to people and kind of get on the same level of things. But at the end of the day, I was always taking that information back to the people who I thought I was rocking with. So once again, to call me chaotic, it's just projecting. For some reason,
wow,
they just didn't. It feels, and I'm not the kind of person to be like,
this is making me mad.
Yeah, I'm not the kind of person to be like, hey, you know, there are people out there on Survivor. You got to treat them. You got to treat them good. But it's like, it really just feels like they were just extremely rude to her for no reason.
Yeah, I feel like, go back to 47, and a Rachel or a Caroline or an Andy would have Star right by their side being like, I'm going to take this person to the end because they don't have quite the resume. And these people aren't thinking like that in 48. And that's what we keep talking about. It's like they went back to 2005 with their strategy. It feels different. It feels different than the Reba 4, because the Reba 4, they were all like, they wanted to plot against each other ultimately. They all wanted to get there, but they were like thinking of, this is how I'm going to backstab you once we get there.
Yeah, that is a really cool comparison. Yeah. And a lot of people dislike this season, and I don't understand that at all. Because even though the honesty and loyalty, strong, big guy team is annoying, I think it makes for good TV because they're the villains, right? It's like John Cena in 2008. Everyone's booing him even though he's a good guy. And he's like, I'm hustle, I'm loyalty, and I'm respect. And everybody's like, you suck, dude. You suck. It's the same thing. We have these guys, and they're talking about, you know, loyalty and playing an honest game, but really they're the villains of the season, and that's exciting to me. I think that's awesome.
So to put it in wrestling terms again, it's the hero who, they really believe they're the hero. They just don't understand that they're being perceived as real assholes.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And the most heartbreaking part of the exit press, because we all became big fans of Star as the season goes on, right?
Yeah, it kept growing.
And I think that was in spite of the edit. Like, we would get to see just moments of Star throughout the episodes, and we would be like, Star is awesome. Dude, he asks, what was it like when you got to Ponderosa with Cedric, Chrissy, and David? What was the energy like over there? Star goes, it was love. And honestly, I can say that my time on the island prior to that voting, I was already feeling defeated. You're working so hard to find your way in this place. You're working so hard to at least make these connections with people. You go to make conversations, and no one's responding. Everyone's in a big group talking, and you say something, and no one laughs. No one talks. So you feel the vibes. You are not a part of the group. So getting away and finally being with people who really care for me and welcome me with open arms. And then this is where we get brackets, and it says Star gets emotional and sounds like she's holding back tears. And she says, the first time I landed on Ponderosa, Cedric, Chrissy, and David are all sitting on the stairs waiting for me. In the moment when you think you're going to cry and you feel so defeated, they uplifted me, they hugged me, and all my pain kind of went away for a little bit. And I was like, wow, this is what I've been wanting. Community people, true allies. Not you're picking on me because I'm not a part of the group. That's childish. We're here to play a game. The group cannot win 1 million. Only one person can win 1 million. And to know that there are people who can put that game to the side and say, hey, you're a person. Come here, man. I know it sucks, but it'll be okay. That was the best part about Ponderosa. That infuriated me.
Man.
Because it was to the point where this, honest and loyal team, they're straight up just like, even in other seasons when there's villains, the villains are still oftentimes having fun with the other people on the island.
And this means that Camilla and Mary were the only people who would talk to Star then on the island, right? Up until Mary and Star were like, well, I have to vote for you now. They both, and they told each other that, I think.
Yeah, they say in the exit press, she was like, hey, me and Mary, there was no hard feelings there. We knew we had to put each other's names down. Yeah. So it seems like there was like kind of a thing. It's heartbreaking that she just was trying to talk to people and they just wouldn't answer.
Hey, do better, muscle guys. Just have a conversation, Yeah. Make Star feel like a person.
And here's the thing that, like, it breaks my heart is, like, you could tell that she's not trying to, like, tear them down and be like, oh, they suck. Like, she's just being honest and being like, I felt really bad.
Yeah, it's different than how Say was being on Twitter being like, I told you the ratings were going to drop or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Say's like, this is lashing out.
Star's not lashing out. She's just like, yeah, really, really hurt my feelings.
Yeah,
and we're just like,
really
oh my
bummed
God.
Me out.
So there's no doubt in my mind that the big guy, Joe, Eva, Kyle, Mitch, that whole alliance, they're the villains of the season. There's nothing wrong with that. We love a good Survivor villain.
Yep.
But they are definitely the villains. They're not, honor and integrity or whatever. They're not.
Except Eva, I think. But to Joe only.
Being brutally honest does not make you, you know what I mean? Man, I did not, and I want to be transparent. It's like, these are all characters on a show.
Yeah.
In my opinion. When I'm yelling at Mitch for 3 minutes on the main show, I have no ill will towards Mitch. I thought it was very entertaining that we all got to make fun of Mitch this week for essentially making the most boring move ever. What I'm not a fan of is the way that they were treating people apparently on that island.
Yeah, and I hope like post game that they've reconciled some of that stuff. I don't know if Star talked about that in the exit press, but I would hope that her and Eva are cool now.
I would hope so. But
I mean, we like Eva. Eva, obviously, I like Eva because at this point, I'm like, I need her to win the game if Camilla's going to go home. But yeah, Eva follows us. Eva's boyfriend follows us. Joe follows us too. Like, I mean, they're playing a great game. That's the other thing is like you might not like it, but this is what peak performance looks like.
No, and that's the thing that's infuriating when the people online are like, this season sucks. This is so boring. This is so lame. It's like, no, this is awesome. Like, it's so cool to see this experiment play out. And there's been other seasons where this exact thing happened.
But it feels like it hasn't happened like this in a while.
And I didn't know it could happen like this in the new era.
I know.
We were talking about this the other day. You were like, I thought the idea of a strong alliance that just took over the whole game for the entire time was
guys
gone.
With muscles. It's not a thing anymore. Like,
but
guys
it's back.
with muscles go at the merge. I mean, Jake, he wasn't shredded.
No.
Jam, he wasn't shredded either.
Shredded. It was
Sam. Okay, Sam was athletic. He was like, but they put him on the bottom because of his athleticism. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and that's kind of like the position Kyle was in 47 too.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you two are strong. You guys are at the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah. And David was extremely entertaining.
Yeah,
to see someone try to pull off the mob boss move and fail drastically. Awesome to watch. Hilarious to watch.
This is like, it's an example of how tight of a grip that Joe and Eva have on the game is that they were like, all right, we'll cut bait with David, one of the strong guys, and we'll still get our way the next week.
Insane. When they didn't have the numbers.
Well, they had a tie.
Yeah, but
yeah, and we'll get into a little bit more.
Any other season, and they would not have been.
Like Andy and Genevieve would have been going to Rocks. You know,
exactly.
all of those people, and they would have pulled something. But let's end Star Exit Press on a lighter note. This is going to be from her interview with Rob. So this is truly our final Star update until final Tribal Council.
Are you feeling the love from the people watching the show?
So much love. I'm feeling all the love. Like, I have a lot of support. I thank the Survivor fans for their support because, you know, you're scared of how you're going to be perceived. You see, and then you have people riding hard for you. You got people like Star Updates making these posts every day, every week, pushing for you. You got people rooting for you. You got people like, why are they being mean to Star? And it's like, thank you guys. Because sometimes you feel like you're alone on the island and you have nobody if you have no one. And watching back and seeing everyone that's shown me so much love means a lot.
You're welcome,
That's
Star,
awesome.
and you deserve it.
Yeah. Star, man, what a great player this season. Started off, we were like, Star does not matter to this game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, dude, I mean, 4 weeks in, and next thing you know, everyone's like, okay, Star might be the best person out there.
We have been robbed of Star at Final Tribal because that would have been one of those spectacles like that Say would have been on the jury. Say would have been brilliant on the jury, even though Cedric has given us Cedric jury updates every week on Instagram where he's like, I'm locked in, got decisions to make.
Far from over.
Yeah. Long ways to go. Seats are filling fast.
So funny.
Yeah, I do love that. But yeah, I think I want to play the preview for week 11 next, and then we can wildly speculate based off that.
I don't want to hurt people, but every single path harms someone.
Next time on Survival, we need to get them to flip.
There's a move to be made. I want one of us in the final 3. I'm gonna write your name. I have one more trick up my sleeve. Kissing me off.
Pissing me off. That was Mary chopping a coconut and then saying it as she chopped it. So it's kind of setting up Mary's going to be trying to make something happen and they're icing her out and then she just goes home. That's the worst case scenario that I can get off of that preview.
I'm not going to trust the preview after what happened last week. This preview, it seems like they're kind of setting up, hey, we're gonna do a move this week.
Or it's like, what's Kyle going to do? I feel like it comes down to Kyle. That line from Camilla about, like, I just want one of us in the final 3, that's weird. No, it's the 2 of y'all. Y'all been saying it the whole time.
Do you think she meant, like, a female? Like, at least one female in the final 3?
No, I think she was talking to Kyle in the scene.
Oh.
So she was saying to Kyle, one of us has to make it. When I'm like, no, you two need to make it to where both of you go, because that was the point the whole time. I'm going to have a crash out like on the level that I had with Maria when she voted against Charlie and switched up on him after everything she had said. If Kyle goes back on his word, and like Kyle was losing his mind trying to keep Camilla in the game a couple weeks ago. If in this episode or the next one, he's like, you know what, I'm going to cut bait with Camilla and just ride it out with the strong guys, I'm going to have a hard time doing the podcast the next day.
Villain.
Yeah.
He'll be a huge villain, man.
Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't know what to think anymore, dude. This whole season. It's like this season it feels like old school Survivor. So you would think people love it. But it feels like old school Survivor to the point where it's just like nothing miraculous might happen. It might just be Joe and Eva and Shaheen riding it out
with Kyle. Because there would be fire making in that situation. And if Eva or Joe... So let's say that Kyle betrays Camilla. God forbid. He betrays Camilla. And Jonathan's curse works. And then the final 4 in that scenario is... the final 3 is either Joe, Eva, Shaheen, or Joe, Eva, Kyle.
So I think it would be Kyle and Shaheen that go to fire.
Yeah.
Depending on who wins the challenge. I would say, if Kyle wins the challenge, though, what if he sends Joe and Eva to fire? You know, that would be insane.
Okay, then it's like the whole season's worth it if Joe and Eva have to face off and Kyle... because they would be pissed at him for making them do that in the first place. Okay. Yeah, that would save the season. We figured out how to save the season.
Joe versus Eva fire making. Was it Mary that said she has one more trick up her sleeve?
Yes.
Okay, I want to bring this up because I've been seeing a lot of this online. Where's all the idols?
There should be another one.
There should be another one.
Because
Eva has
there were
one.
all the original tribe idols, and nobody's found one on the merge beach. Right?
Eva has one. She got a second one from a
But
challenge.
it's not an idol. It's a safety without power.
Yep.
Which is kind of like an idol without a vote.
Right. So, which she has to use this week, I'm pretty sure. It's either this week or next week. But
that throws a wrench into it if she's set on using it.
Yeah. But someone used an idol, right? Or did someone go home with an idol?
Kyle used an idol. That's
Where's
his
that idol?
one move in the game. That's
because
the
idols refresh after you use them. They get hidden out in the woods.
And you would think on the merge beach there would be at least one new one.
Do you think, because we've had a weird edit this season, do you think Mary found the idol and they just haven't showed it to us yet?
She would have been like, hey, Mitch, we have the numbers and we have an idol and like we can guarantee this, something like that. So I don't think she has one at this point. Maybe she finds one next week. That'd be great. I feel like we're just grasping at straws now.
Yeah. Trying
to be like, what could happen that could save Mary and the underdogs in this situation. Yeah,
that's true. And I imagine this is probably how it's always felt whenever there's a season that's just being dominated by an alliance.
All right, let's pray. Let's start praying that Mary gets an idol. Everybody do that at home.
I know that Mary's not on your drafted team, but if somehow Mary won this season, I mean, how would you honestly feel?
I would be really happy for her because, Mary feels like our Survivor friend, and that we don't. That hasn't really happened with anybody else. Where she gave us her song to use as the theme song, and we did a bit with her and stuff. Where I've never felt that connected to a Survivor player before. So I think 100%. I would feel like Rupert levels of sadness if she got voted out, probably. Yes. And then if she won, I would be really happy for her,
dude. And also, I mean, people would lose their minds if somehow someone that has been on the bottom the whole time beat Joe and Eva in this dominant alliance. If Mary somehow manages to get to the final three. Because here's the thing. This is something we can talk about. If that final three is any combination other than Joe, Eva, Kyle, or Shaheen, whoever that third person is winning.
Yeah, because the jury is going to be really bitter. Because, I mean, just imagine Chrissy and David being there talking about how much they hate Joe and then how much they hate Eva because of how tight she was with Joe. Yep. So it could be a landslide.
It could be, dude. It's classic Survivor. So that leads me to believe that Eva would win over Joe or whoever the third person is, because that's back when it was only 2. This is 3. Whoever that usually would be the 0-vote finalist will be the undisputed winner.
Yeah. So if you think it's if it ends up being Joe, Shaheen, and Eva, do you think Eva wins?
I think so. Maybe Shaheen.
And then what if it's Kyle instead of Shaheen? Would Kyle get the win? Because he would have Camilla, who would probably be going to bat for him at least.
Unless he turned on her.
Yeah. She might have some complicated feelings about that if it ends up that way. See, that's what's fun about this. Is that even though people are like, oh, worst thing ever, there's so many different ways it could play out still. Because we have three or 4 weeks left, right? 3, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. If it does end up being like a slow march to a Joe win, then at the end of it, I'm going to be like, that wasn't my favorite, final 4 weeks of Survivor. But at least when Rachel did it, it felt so exciting,
Because she was at the bottom the whole
time. she did a speed run to the top and then just stayed there for a week or 2.
Yeah, it was awesome. But, and we can still see that. I mean, if Mary finds a way to get in that final 3, I think it's a landslide. Mitch. I think Mitch could. I mean, Mitch has made a lot of people mad now.
I don't know. But I don't think Mitch has any kind of resume to point to, though. And they might factor that in.
But it could be just spite for the other 2 players alone.
But Mitch, I mean, what's his story? It's I kind of accepted defeat and just went with it.
If I was him, I'd open with the stutter.
Yeah, maybe do the mailman story again.
I've had a hard life, but I've overcome, And I'm here.
And I feel like we've probably said some mean stuff about Mitch and just kind of like, skipped over it and didn't think about it. So
I don't know, man. I feel like we've been pretty positive about Mitch in this episode.
I'm just covering the bases, hitting us with the laser just in case.
Good call.
That thing is painful. I don't know what I did.
It's loud, dude. It doesn't even sound like a laser.
No, I don't know what it's just a wall of sound in my headphones right now.
All right, what's next on the agenda?
So next, I was going to play a deleted scene, but I'm going to be honest, and this is, I think, a problem that people are having with the season in some capacity. The deleted scene was really boring, so I'll just summarize it. Shaheen announces it's a reward challenge. Camilla thought it was an auction at first, and then she was disappointed. And then Mitch tells us how important food is in Survivor, and that was it. Last week, me and you played Star in a deleted scene for 3 minutes, uninterrupted, and we just sat there and listened, and it felt like no time at all. It just flew by, because Star, we were hanging on every word of Star.
She's great, dude.
But then, like, this scene, Mitch is like, yeah, people don't realize, like, you get so hungry on Survivor, and then the food really, like, it'll help you, and maybe it'll, like, give you the fuel you need to get to that next conversation that puts you in a better position in the game. Falling asleep. That's like Jeff on his podcast. That's like Jeff-level analysis on the podcast. I love Jeff for the behind-the-scenes stuff, but... On Fire can be a little Mitch-like. Dang it, laser.
That's very funny.
Another problem with having Say go home when she was bringing so much entertainment value, and David, who is also bringing a ton of entertainment value, that it's just making the season feel a little less... Like, it was insane. For the first... the pre-merge this year was absolutely insane.
Probably one of the best pre-merges ever.
I would say, at least of the new era, for sure. Like, you're coming off of that crazy high with... Remember the Mary shot in the dark thing? How we were all celebrating, like, our team won the World Cup or whatever. And like
that feels like seasons ago.
I know. The Survivor season is such a long campaign. I do want to talk about Big Bro Club before we get on to the last thing.
Please.
Because Big Bro Club, it was a massive hit. So I just want to give a shout out to Jonathan again. Also for giving us like something we can refer to them as other than the Strong Guy Alliance.
Big Bro Club.
Tune into RHAP this week. Tune into Rob Has a Podcast, I think Wednesday or Thursday, because you might hear Jonathan's voice. You might just, if they decide to play it, you might hear Rob Sesternino react to Jonathan Wright singing.
Whoa.
Survivor royalty Rob might be on 50 is going to react to Jonathan. So Jonathan might be drafting him if Rob really likes the song. I bet Jonathan would take Rob first round in 50 if that happens.
Too, man. I'm hoping we see Robbie C on season 50.
I hope so too. And then maybe like he'll let Jonathan, if he really likes his song, he'll let Jonathan be on Know It Alls with Fishback.
Dude. We don't even let Jonathan on this show. What do you mean?
That's a good point. Look, it's the power of music.
Yes. No, in all honesty, the song's awesome. I've been listening to it on repeat this week. Jonathan's killer, dude. Great musician.
Hey, do you want to hear something that's not awesome from Jonathan?
Yeah, I would.
Great segue by me. So I tried to, and this is pulling the curtain back for the listeners, I tried to record a podcast with Jonathan starting at 8 o'clock tonight. It's currently 11:20, and I'm recording with a completely different person now, Chase Bridges. So we tried to get on at first. I get on, and Jonathan is like walking with his laptop, and he's like, hey, I don't know if he wants me to put this out there, but I'm going to do it anyway. He's like, hey, I'm not wearing pants. I could only see his shirt, but he goes, hey, and he's walking with the laptop to the kitchen. And he goes, hey, I'm not wearing pants. I'm making my wife a sandwich. I'm just like, who are you? Like, what is what? If I ever called you and that was happening, I'd be like, Chase has lost his mind. But there's something about Jonathan that I'm like, yeah, I guess Jonathan would, be only wearing a T-shirt and then making his wife a sandwich at 9 o'clock. Yeah, while she tries to put the baby to sleep.
Yeah, dude, who's pantsless that early?
I know.
But
he did,
man,
before we started trying to record the podcast, he's like, I'm going to turn my camera off and go put pants on real quick. And so he did.
Dude.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
But I could only see his shirt the whole time, thankfully.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I love how, because I was a little disappointed this week. I thought I wasn't going to be able to be on the Sanctuary because you guys were going to do it way earlier. Because we usually record these around 10:30 or 10. And they were like, hey, can we do it like 7 or 8? And I was like, yeah, I won't be able to make it, but that's okay. I'm on most of them. And then like 7:30 came. And then 8:30 came and went.
And I've been texting like, hey, haven't started yet.
And then I just get a text being like, hey, I think it's me and you tonight.
Yeah, but me and Jonathan, we did make an attempt. We got into, okay, so I was saying all this to set up that I went outside, like I went to my car because after Jonathan and the sandwich thing, I'm like, oh, I don't have my glasses on. My glasses are in my car. And like I should probably be able to read. So I went and as I left, I said, "Hey, make a song while I'm gone," just as a joke, because that's Jonathan's thing. He makes songs. Yeah. He's really good at it. And I come back and Jonathan's just laughing, and I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "I made a song, but I didn't listen to any of it. I just threw a bunch of loops together, and like we're gonna listen to it together live." So I have it.
I would love to hear it.
The title of the track is I Didn't Listen to This, and he titled it that because he said he had it on mute and just threw a bunch of loops into the software. So, all right, here we go. This could be the worst thing you've ever heard in your life. We'll see. What? It's 45 seconds long.
There's no words, I guess.
Why?
I mean, I could freestyle over it if we needed to.
Might need to turn it down, but it's about to end. All right. What was that?
Not worth it being in the edit
No.
of this video.
Or is it so bad that it should be? But it's like there's no vocals, there's nothing. He's just like, but he seemed really happy about it. Like, or
Put
just
some song.
He's like,
sounds
hey,
together.
threw a bunch of loops together. Let's see what happens on the podcast. Look, it's the Sanctuary. Maybe I let it fly.
Maybe.
If you were gonna title that song, what would you title it?
I would call it Calypso Armstrong.
Okay. I think I would call it Bold and Brash.
Oh, man. All right, dude. Let's get to
the final
our top
segment.
3. Yeah.
Somebody left a comment on Spotify that said, so when are we doing the Pop Girls podcast? I need a Pop Girl Opinions episode.
Yeah.
So we're here to give opinions.
And it probably would be better if it was you and Jonathan.
Yeah, probably the music lovers.
Yeah, but I'm gonna try my best to give the people what they want.
Should we start with Jonathan? Because he sent us something.
Yeah. Let's hear Jonathan's. I respect his opinion.
All right.
Okay. Here's my pop artist list. I'm going to base this off a few things. So coming in at number 3 is going to be Ariana Grande. Now, I am not wildly familiar with her catalog, but every time I hear her sing, or every time I hear one of the hits, I am blown away by how good she is. And just seeing live performances and stuff, she's really pretty amazing. Number 2, I'm going to throw a twist in there. I'm going to say The Weeknd. He is dark pop. I really enjoy his last 3 albums, pretty much front to back. And he partners up with some artists. He partnered up with Ariana as well. He's got some great producers, including working with some of the guys from Daft Punk. So The Weeknd is number 2 for me. And number 1, I'm going to have to say it's Taylor Swift. Now, I thought her last album was a stinker of an album. But I am going to say that Folklore, 1989, and Reputation are all 3 really great albums. Don't Talk to Me about the album Lover. I think it's stinky as well. Don't talk to me about Evermore because I won't even remember a single song from it. But what Taylor Swift has done has partnered with great people like producers Jack Antonoff and the guy from The National. So there you go.
I have some opinions about, because I know about the albums he's talking about, like, because I've listened to every song in them. I'm assuming that you're probably like, he says Lover is stinky, and you're like, I don't know what that means.
Nope, no
right?
idea.
I love that album. See, me and Jonathan, we go at it because we've been fighting about a Panic at the Disco album for about 4 years now. Where, I mean, I don't even feel that strongly about it. Our argument is that he says it's horrible, and I'm like, it's kind of good. And he's like, no, it's not kind of good. It's horrible. So
that's very funny. So, and it's like you two are the only people talking about Panic at the Disco.
You're right.
Because Panic at the Disco at this point is just Brendan Urie, and he's like always in trouble for something.
Yeah. We really are the only people doing Panic at the Disco discourse just among ourselves.
How do you feel about his list? Feels pretty basic in my opinion.
Lover is stinky. Definitely disagree with that. But, you know, him saying he didn't remember a single song off Evermore, I also agree with that take. So I'm going to give Jonathan a pass. Kristen sent hers.
Yeah, let's hear Kristen.
Yeah, she didn't give us audio because
Even
she
better.
doesn't need to take 2 minutes to elaborate like Jonathan. She just said, she sent me a few lists actually, and then she said, wait, I got to change my list. It's got to be Taylor Swift, Leon, and Sia from 10 years ago.
Okay. Her list feels more unique.
Yeah, I mean, she did have Taylor number 1 just like Jonathan did, and she said honorable mention Casey Musgraves.
Okay.
I guess it's time for me to give my list, and, you know, I might be just as long-winded as Jonathan.
That's okay.
We'll see. Number 3, this is probably someone you don't know. I'm going to go with Marina Diamandis.
Yeah, 100%.
Formerly known as Marina and the Diamonds.
Hold on. Hold on. So she was in a band.
She was never in a band.
Oh, okay. Her artist name was
Marina and the Diamonds, but her real name was Marina Diamandis.
Why?
And she just wanted to do a play on her name, and then the bit that she did was like, the diamonds are the fans, because she's British, or no, she's Greek. If it wasn't for copyright, she has this one song that I would play where, like, in the bridge, she has a mental breakdown in a grocery store, and the spoons start talking to her. So, like, she's not afraid to get weird sometimes. Yeah. And she tends to write more about her philosophy for life, like topics that are deeper than the other 2 artists I'm going to list, which mainly talk about men and partying.
Right, which are the most important.
And that brings me to Charlie XCX as my number 2.
Okay. Yeah, big hit. Big hit these days.
Have you seen the discourse? It's kind of hard to escape because a lot of people don't like her.
Why?
Well, because she was at a Coachella after party and wore a sash that said "should be headliner," and Twitter had a meltdown. They're like, she is so ungrateful.
Hey, in my opinion, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty
That
sick.
makes me like her more. Because I agree with her. I don't know. I could not tell you a single Brat song. But the fact that it's all anyone's talked about for the past 6 months, yeah, dude.
Yeah, and I didn't really get it at first, and then I listened to the whole album, and I loved it. But everybody thinks it's like, oh, Charlie XCX is on coke, and then she wrote an album to, like, do coke to, and that's kind of true. But a key part of it is that the mask slips a little bit, and then she goes from 365 party girl to, like, I'm thinking about retiring and becoming a mother, or my relationship with Lord is complicated. You know, it's like it's a lot of stuff going on.
My
in
relationship
that
with Lord is also complicated.
yeah. I mean, look, we've all been in that boat. But that's the song, "Girl So Confusing."
Yo, the only thing that could make that better, because you got to remember, this is my first time hearing any of this.
Yeah.
The only thing that could make that better is if she has never met Lord in real life.
Well, no, I get to explain the lore to you. Part of the lyrics is like, we would go out to eat and it's kind of awkward and I wonder, do you really even like me, kind of a thing. And then here's the thing though, they worked it out on the remix album. The Brat remix album she featured.
Worked it out.
Yeah, they worked it
awesome.
out. The people call it the Working It Out remix.
What was the Charlie XCX song that was like super popular 5-6 years ago that got her famous?
I don't care. I love it. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, that was everywhere.
I don't care. I love it. Yeah, dude. Heck yeah, dude.
But one thing I like about Girl So Confusing live is that she will go on auto-tune rants during the intro before she kicks into the verse, and I actually have one that I'm going to play for you. She just talks about general problems and stuff before she gets into the song, so let's take a listen to this.
Let's hear it.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you stay on stage and you get your period right before the show and you're wearing ties and long pants. And you're like, what the f***? Is my tampon string gonna stick out? Or is it gonna be okay? To be decided.
Stuff like that.
Heck yeah, dude. I always thought it was really funny when she said, I crashed my car into the bridge. I watched I Let It Burn.
Yeah.
And I just think that's funny.
And that's part of being a brat, I guess. It all comes
Heck
back.
yeah, dude. So your number one is obviously going to be...
It's going to be Ariana Grande. And she's my number one. Sometimes I get pushed back on that because people don't like her as a person. But personally, I do not care that she licked a donut. I don't care that she said, I hate America. Look, her, if she wants to break up a marriage and date Broadway SpongeBob, none of my business, okay? I'm here for the music.
Yeah. I think the best musicians in life have to be problematic.
And she is. She's a very problematic person sometimes, but the music is so good.
You know, her hit song.
Yeah, you don't know any of them, do you?
What is her most hit? Like, what is the most popular Ariana song?
I think her biggest hit was Thank You Next.
Okay.
And that's my favorite pop album of all time.
Next.
That album. And she has a tribute song about Mac Miller that's like, it's pretty haunting. It's one of my favorite songs she's put out, but I don't listen to it because it bums me out.
Yeah. The best, some of the best art is like that.
Yeah, you experience it once, and it's like, I don't need those emotions again, but I appreciate it, you know?
I felt what you were putting out in the world, and it'll stick with me forever, and I don't need to hear it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my top three. I think it's going to be fun. My number three is going to be Chappell Roan.
Okay, yeah. Newer on the scene. Another person that people take issue with in the media.
I like her. I like how mean she is. I don't know. I like all of her songs. I really like the one that Jonathan did the cover of.
Pink Pony
Pink
Club.
Pony Club. I saw a video of her performing that song at a park in front of 10 people and a keyboard. And I love it. I love seeing people who love to make art succeed. I love people who love to make art succeed to the point where they're so famous that they hate being famous and they scream at paparazzi and all of the fans because it's too much. Because at the end of the day, they just wanted to make art. They didn't sign up for all of the fame. I love it.
And she was watching Survivor for Thomas.
Yes, dude. Yes. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Chappell Roan. My number two, and is this of all time?
This is just like your personal taste. Whatever your favorite are.
My number two is going to be Justin Bieber.
Okay, yeah. The kid we all bullied for no reason.
Yeah, 100%. But at the end of the day, he was cool.
Yeah, he was.
He's always been cool.
He might have been getting bullied by every guy on the internet, but the girls loved him.
Yeah. I think I even, like, when the whole world hated him because he was just being cool, I thought it was awesome. In 7th grade, if I was your boyfriend, I'd never let you go.
Yeah.
I could take you places you ain't never been before. Baller song. Then his phase where he was like spitting on people from a balcony.
Yeah.
Hilarious. And then also he had that like phase a couple years ago where he had that song Lonely, where he's like practically like crying. And there was this video that went viral of him like super drunk in the club singing the song. It was very emotional. And I liked that. I like how much emotion was into that. That song where he was like, and everybody saw me sick. And it felt like no one gave a shit. I'm like, God, you're right, dude. We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't care. I like that. I like all the emotion there. I think he's a cool guy. All right, my number one pop artist of all time.
Taylor Swift.
No, I am a big Taylor Swift hater. My number one, I mean, it's got to be Michael Jackson, right?
I was a big fan of him when I was a kid. And when he died, especially, everybody was listening to him when he died.
Yeah, the This Is It documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Michael Jackson so much, man.
Yeah, he has some legendary songs that they're still inescapable. Even though he died 20 years ago, you'll still hear his songs just out and about.
He's one of the only people...
he didn't die 20 years ago, did he? Close, yeah, dang.
Because it would have been around 2008, 2010.
Yeah. So why don't we end this episode by listening to Jonathan's awful song one more time?
Let's do it, man.
All right.
Yeah. Word. Just me and PD back out the Fiji, trying to get down, trying to get with me. Michael Jackson. It's not really a great beat.
Nah, not that great at all.
I do like when the horn is.
Yeah, I think that's about to happen. Yeah, there we go.
I like that.
All right, cutting it off.
You're about to hear some ads that help keep the lights on here in the old studio. Thanks for listening or don't listen. It's really up to you at this point. It's at the end of the show. I mean, you're listening to me. Hi. But here they come. I promise they're coming. Yep, here they are. Happy day.
Plan on flying? In order to board domestic flights, your driver's license or state-issued ID must be a real ID. Learn how to get your real ID today at tsa.gov/real ID or visit your local DMV. Plan on flying? In order to board domestic flights, your driver's license or state-issued ID must be a real ID. Learn how to get your real ID today at tsa.gov/real ID or visit your local DMV.